welcome back to Rebecca's Random Adventures. Today's project is a sunflower wreath that you can put in the front of your house or in any door or wardrobe. So all you need to start with is a base, and it doesn't even have to be a proper wreath base. I got a proper wreath base from Spotlight for 15 ringgit last Christmas season. It was a good deal, and I've been thinking ever since what to do with it and looking for inspiration. So the first thing that I did was grab scraps of velvet, and it can be any fabric that's a neutral base because you're not going to see the fabric once you're done with the wreath, right? So I just got maybe like 2 to 2.5 yards of scrap faux velvet, and I wrapped it round and round. It was about 2.5 yards by 6 inches wide, and just roll and wrap it, and maybe twist it a little bit so it looks a little bit like artistic, so there's a texture, not really necessary. Just roll the fabric around your wreath base and just cover it, and really no gluing is required. You can tuck the ends in. If you need to glue or staple or pin or something, you can choose to do that. So like I said, you can use any kind of round base. It can even be a cardboard base that you cut out yourself. It really doesn't matter. So once I had my base, it took me a while to figure out what I wanted to put on the wreath. Like, I couldn't think of anything. So I've been doing watercolor, and then I did this sunflower watercolor tutorial, and then I realized that my mother really loves sunflowers and bright, kind of like daisy sunflowers. She loves big, bold flowers, and so I thought, why not do a sunflower wreath? I didn't have like faux sunflowers or anything like that, so I went to my closet and I found that I had burlap. Burlap was also from like the craft store. I think it was 15 ringgit for a huge, like 60 inches by 1 meter piece. And so it's an inexpensive material that is easy to get. So I got out the burlap, and I was thinking I could make sunflowers out of the burlap with like a very simple sunflower design, and paint it and then just glue it onto the wreath, and that's what I got. So the first step for the flower is really just getting a template. So I got a little piece of scrap note paper, and I folded it in half and then into a quarter and then into an eighth, kind of the way you would make like a paper snowflake. I have a tutorial for that, I think, in the past. And you just imagine that you're going to cut it out into a circle, but when you draw the petal shape on it. So literally I just made my own 8-petal template, and then if you layer 2 of these, you get the sunflower look. So I traced the template out on the burlap using a sharpie that kind of matched the burlap color, because whatever you trace it, whether it's pencil, it's going to show in the end product. So you want to be sure not to use a big bright blue sharpie. Use something neutral. So I used orange, and what happens was at the edge of the sunflowers, you kind of get that hint of the orange sharpie, but orange is still clear enough to be able to see when you're cutting out the burlap. So that's a little tip for you. So it took about 14 minutes to get all the pattern pieces cut out for the sunflowers, but it was fun. I was listening to a podcast, and it was a relaxing thing to do on a Sunday afternoon. Then I prepared my paint. I have furniture grade acrylic paint, but you can use normal craft acrylic paint as well, and I only had it in white. So I think I was like, I'm gonna make this a naturally dyed project. So I got out turmeric, and I dumped turmeric into the white paint and just stirred it in. And I mixed it up with a bit of water, because the turmeric will kind of thicken the water, so you want to thin it down a little bit, and it worked. It's a lovely bright shade of yellow, and if it darkens over time, that's fine, because sunflowers are like orange brown as well, not just yellow. So it's a naturally dyed sunflower with turmeric. The easiest method I found for painting the burlap was using an old kitchen sponge. My grandma was an art teacher and she always taught us to save junk like old sponges and toilet paper rolls and egg cartons. So I did it in a very organic way, and I kind of like the look where you have chunks of paint that stick between the burlap layers. And what's cool about the acrylic paint is that it will keep the burlap sunflower from fraying, because the burlap frays, it makes a big mess, right? And then when you cut out the petals, there's the danger that the little bits of the weave are going to come out. But if you paint it pretty soon with acrylic paint, the acrylic forms like a glue that holds the burlap together, that holds the sunflower together. For the center of the sunflower, again, I didn't have brown paint and I was lazy to get out my wood kind of furniture varnish, which would have been the right color. So I mixed poster paint and cocoa powder and a little bit of black ink and just whatever I had to make it brown. You could just use brown paint, you know, you could do that. I took an old lid of a container and I traced the circles that I thought would best fit the sunflower. I traced, cut them out, painted them with my brownish acrylic cocoa powder paint mixture and just let them dry. The last thing to do really now is just assemble everything, and that was a breeze. So I got my hot glue gun. You could use Yoo-hoo glue or any kind of strong glue, preferably not like PVA school glue, something a little bit stronger than that that's going to resist water. So I would recommend either Yoo-hoo glue or a hot glue gun. You don't really need a E6000. Literally just take one petal of the flower and glue the other petal on top of it and glue the center of the sunflower on top of it, and then you've got your sunflowers. After that, it's just a matter of gluing your sunflowers onto the wreath base and deciding what you want to do with it. You could be a little bit more creative. You can add some texture and interest. You can add little bits of twine, or you can make green burlap leaves. But I just went for simple, straightforward, a circle of sunflowers, and that's what I got. And it looks great. I'm just so happy with like the rustic look of it, and also just the bright cheeriness. And I feel like it would work with farmhouse like kind of decor, and it might also work with like a boho kind of decor. It depends on how you style it. Burlap flowers just require burlap and acrylic paint and glue, and you can let your imagination go crazy. So if you try this project, do let me know. You can like, subscribe, and follow for more. Bye!